You guys should be able to see me in there, red, orange, and yellow guy. So this is a FLIR camera, so this is the real deal. This is not a phone app you guys can go home and download, unfortunately. So this is a phone, or a camera attached to a phone. But with that said, this is what firemen would use to help save people. It's a pretty big deal, but we're looking for those cold spots. So I point out the fact that I'm the red, orange, and yellow guy because that means I'm the warmest thing inside the frame right now. So that's going to make a lot of sense later on because we're looking for blue and black areas. When I say I'm looking for them, I want them to move or to take shape. When I say take shape, I want heads, shoulders, moving arms and legs. So again, does this capture something every single night? Not necessarily, but when we do, it is a holy cow moment. Like, it is a person walking towards us that is definitely not of human temperature, if you're getting my point. So this guy is super cool. You will be getting the full video back. The cool thing about your video you're going to get is that there's a blue dot bouncing around the screen. That blue dot is there to show you the coldest spot in the frame at that particular moment. So the cold spot, like tonight we are sitting at, I think it was 80 degrees exactly for ambient temperature between our 2 hours. So I'm going to be looking for 15 plus degree temperature drop. So that's going to be 65 and below. That's obviously a much cooler thing than us as humans as being at 97 and 99 degrees. So as great as the hardware is, the software sucks. So if we record for too long, we're going to lose footage, which I definitely do not want to do. So I'm going to be giving the cues for all cameras to do starts and stops. In here, and their vehicles probably also in here. So we're kind of limited on space, but this place should start to empty out one by one. So when people are going to their cars, just go the opposite way if you have a video camera. So where the hell are we? We're in a parking lot. Congratulations, you made it. I told you, I'm taking you to weird spaces around town. This space used to be something relative to the history of Charleston. So this used to be the Charles and Eliza Pinckney mansion site. Their mansion actually sat in the front of this space, kind of lined up with where we are now. Eliza's garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant over there and went all the way across the back, and then the servant and slave quarters were in the back of the, basically the lot, if that kind of gives you a gist. So that's the layout of the land. For all of you communication device people, that's spirit boxes, Ouija boards, digital word lists, I am not going to be giving you questions like what color was George Washington's white horse, like what we did over there with the big red barn. This is where I start withholding information on purpose. I want you guys to get the answers from your spirit boxes. So, who the heck were these people? Charles and Eliza had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Chucks. That's why we look for secondary clues. I need to know which Charles is coming through. They all 3 have different characteristics about them. The son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. That's a big deal for us, but I hate politics. We're going to move on. I hate politics more than all of y'all, if that makes more sense. So, we're going to talk about Eliza. She married Charles at a young age according to today's standards. I say that because all of you spirit box people, if you ask her how old she was when she got married, do not expect numbers from the colonial times that she came from, like 12 and 14. Think of today's standards because her husband was over double her age when they married. A creepy age gap in the 1700s, a creepy age gap now. So, anyway, she married her husband, Charles, because her father was over in England. He thought he was dying. He was trying to bring all of his children home one last time. Eliza didn't believe he was dying, so she stayed put, got married. It's 1744. You don't get married in that particular year to get a green card. So, you heard burning? Alrighty. So, yeah, let's put that on mute so I'm not so distracted just yet. She's like, damn it. But anyway. But yeah, she did marry him out of love. This is a true love story. Don't poke the bear while we're here about the marriage. But here's what I'll tell you. She was correct. Dad did not die right away. Instead, he starts sending her gifts from England to where we're standing. One of those gifts happens to be plant seeds of indigo. You guys have been in town for at least an hour or so that I know of. You've seen the word indigo somewhere, I promise you. But indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. That's how we use it now. But when she got her seeds, she didn't know what to do with them. She had to learn from her servants and slaves how to keep it cultivated, then how to make the dye. When she figured all that out, she moved to a cash crop, then got a hold of her dad and said, rice plantations are going downhill. We're going to make a killing with this indigo. And we now have an international businesswoman during colonial times. So that's something absolutely unheard of. Now, that's the boring business shit of Eliza. Let's get into the weird stuff, because that's why you guys are here. So what's going to happen is I'm going to go through each kind of set of spirit box that you guys are holding, giving you sets of questions that are commonly found in this area based on the type of spirit box that you have or communication device in Hannah's case. With yours, so Ava and Adelaide. I'm going to get you guys down pat. Look at me getting things down. Oh, look at that, double A's. So that'll make it easy for me. All right, so so you guys actually have like one of the better spirit boxes because it's going to give you a lot more. You guys are going to go after Eliza's death. So you're going to ask her anything you want to about her death. So how old she was, what she died from, where she's buried, what president was a pallbearer at her funeral. So once we spread out, like you guys are gonna, like we're all gonna be asking questions. I will also tell you there's at least one communication device in every group. If you're not getting direct answers to your device, keep in mind there's a lot of communication out here. So it can go anywhere on top of the 3 video cameras. Oh my God, Friday night. Anyway, 3 video cameras plus my audio. We never know where these answers are gonna go. Your TV shows only show you one spirit box at a time and wait. Yeah, I like to throw it all out there just to see where it's going to stick, and we already kind of have one of the answers, which is funny because that's the question that I normally give you. So where's my other, so Regina and Jen, you guys actually have the same set of questions as well, which we already know the answer is what happened to the mansion, burning, it did catch fire, but now you're going to go after the when. So if we get the what, we normally get 2 out of 3 numbers of the full date of when that actually occurred. And again, remember, that could stick anywhere. Who else has a spirit box? You have communication devices back there. I normally put those 2 together as of lately. First off, because the Ouija board isn't as active as you would think it is. But I'm also going to tell you that Eliza that we just spoke about is the second wife named Eliza from Charles back to back. His first wife was also named Eliza. And she died 5 months prior to him marrying the one we just talked about. So kind of a jerk move, right? Ironically, both Elizas have a maiden name that started with the letter L. So, for obviously your Ouija board, you're looking for the initials of both of Eliza's of E-L-P in that order. But on the other hand, literally, you're going to be looking for Eliza's maiden name of which one we're dealing with. It starts with the letter L. Hopefully you get an answer. You're also you can use the marriage questions as well. So how old she was, how old Charles was, how long they were married, just kind of keep things nice and simple. I will tell you that there are children involved with this specific location. We are not going to poke the bear tonight. It is a very sensitive month for Miss Eliza, so we are not going to be going after the children questions tonight because I don't want strangers poking and asking the wrong questions, if you get my meaning. I will cover the children before we leave the space. So I don't know what kind of meeting we have going on over here behind you guys, but we are going to stay clear of them. I know it kind of limits our space of where we can go, but stay away from going in between vehicles. I know I brought us up into the biggest gap I could find. It wasn't because, did we get any other numbers, Jeff, by the way?
We had a 4.5.
Okay, so
you want me to interrupt and tell you? Oh
yeah, you guys are all going to have Tourette syndrome all night long. Interrupt me. So if it throws me off track, that's a good thing. So your baseline is going to be 13 at this point because that's the highest one you're giving me. So don't give me anything below that point. And so Shannon, with yours specifically, you're going to stick to that 2.5 because you haven't had any numbers yet that I know of. So
I mean, it's like really
I gotcha.
walking. There's no way of knowing if it's just turning off.
Well, the wires above us are too far away for these devices.
Okay,
so
well, I got up to like 13, like in a split second.
that's exactly what happens.
Okay.
So he also had a 13. So that's actually a win for me at this point. So that actually matches up.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's about time. I've had that thing for 3 months. I bought it at the same time I bought the Stickman camera.
And you haven't seen it go up at all?
I haven't seen a whole lot of activity out of it.
Okay.
So I'll say this, I will not use just that as an EMF detector.
Right.
I will always go to Jeff's device as a default because it's way more accurate and more sensitive.
Yeah.
Now the other one that Harlow's using, that one particularly only goes to 25, just so you guys know. Yours goes to 100, his goes well over 200.
Well, that's what I asked. So hers didn't go off and mine did when we were right next to each other, and that's why I didn't say
Again,
anything.
that's where it's,
okay.
It could have been just closer to you on one edge or so forth and so on. But you did get a 13. I'm actually pretty stoked about that, especially since it matches up to the number you didn't realize that Jeff already told me.
Perfect.
So I'm actually pretty happy with that, honestly. Do we have anything going on with yours before we spread out a little bit?
It's a slope.
Slope? Yeah, there's a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah.
Anybody, do you guys get anything out of yours yet? I know you guys been kind of in and out with yours. You've got the word burning, we already know that. And Adelaide, anything on yours? Nothing yet. All right, so here's what's going to happen. I'm going to keep Hannah and camera behind so I can show Hannah how to use that Ouija board a little bit further. The rest of you are going to spread out, staying away from vehicles. I'm going to do one full round robin here, and then I'm going to regroup us to give you all the answers to see what you guys found and kind of like piece it all together for you before we leave the space. Again, I only do one round robin on the weekends because you can see the congestion of the cars and people walking through. So one round robin, we don't want to spend too much time here. All right, so let's spread out. You two stick with me. Come forward.
Should she just be taking pictures of
Everything. Don't take pictures of people and license plates. All right, 13.
when did it burn?
Hey, Nick.
Tell him?
There we go.
It went all the way to red.
Okay.
Like multiple times.
So one thing you do want to make sure is that no other devices around it, obviously. So I mean, you're perfectly fine. I mean, within like this close. Like a lot of people like to hold it with their cell phone.
We were
and stuff like
testing it out.
that. Nice. So we have a 25.
I got a 36.6.
Nice. So you got nothing on yours, right?
No.
Up to 1.1 is natural.
Well, it's gotten up to 4. Not much.
Yeah, but the fact that she's getting something right there, it's,
Of course it'll be you.
of course it will. So, fine. You're kind of like my guinea pig. This guy is the one that's been baffling me. I've been testing it with things around my house with the millimeter.
Yeah, I did. When I got mine, I did the same thing.
But up to 1.1 is natural from the Earth, so that's why I go straight to 2.5. Not to mention, this second green dot on the K2 is a 2.5. It's where it starts. So and it only goes to 25 milliamps. So she's reading about up to 10 to 15 right now. So like that's and it's pretty erratic.
One of those.
The Envoy.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I have a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, that's brand new. The next thing I'm going to be adding, instead of a REM pod, we're going to be using a theremin device. So if you're familiar with that, it's actually an instrument. It actually has a much wider range than the REM pod, and it actually will play a song. So if I can bring it in here and get those kind of readings instead of in the middle, and she can play me a song, yeah, I can't wait to get it. Because they are motion sensors.
Oh, doesn't that make sense?
So unless one goes off where there's nobody nearby, which one did last week, I was pretty super stoked about. Yeah, the ones on the entryway, like those ones pop on and off all the time, so don't pay attention to those.
Hey, Nick.
Yeah.
Could I get your? I'm not quite sure what's the white discoloration over there.
So that's going to take like an outline. It's going to be a little bit off because, again, it doesn't look at surfaces the same way we do in 3D.
Okay.
It does it in 2D. So what it does is it says, oh, there's temperature differences between a person and the open air. Let's put a white outline around the person so that way the user can see that it's an actual
Okay,
person.
so these three.
Yeah, it's coming from that window.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's just off to the
No,
side.
good to know. Good to know.
Yeah.
All
But
right.
yeah, good question.
Thank you. It went up high again? What do we got? Another 15? All right. Okay.
Very hard to do.
I don't want to get the car in there, so hold on.
You heard me say 36.
I got it. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was
I
just
heard that number.
13.8 a minute. That was the
So
higher.
your new base is going to be 25. So just because that is definitely higher than the one that Arlo's using, and I want to make sure like we're having
Yeah.
one gym. The
We'll
average
mention.
spike here is about 18 to 22, believe it or not. So your 36 is still on the mark for me. When it starts hitting triple digits, because you have the most accurate one, just let me know immediately so that way I can kind of help you gauge it and see if we need to go or not.
And then Harlow's spiked a little. She
Yeah, I
said.
got a 25. So
Okay.
hers has already been maxed out for me, so that goes straight into your notes. I
Gotcha.
mean, she's had a steady 10 to 15 with a 25. So,
So we're supposed to be silent until there's something that comes
No.
through. Okay, so maybe we don't get volume.
yeah, that's probably the problem.
Okay.
Because I was like,
Oh, I gave you the wrong information, babe. I thought it was gonna
That
mute
makes more
until it
sense.
pops in.
Perfect, you poor thing. Could have been saying your name the whole time.
Sorry.
You should take pictures where it's going off.
Just no cars or people.
Getting like it a lot. No, I mean for the film over. Oh, I got a 7.6. Wait.
Ooh, let him know that.
Well. Yeah, something's good. Okay. Oh yeah. I got a 7.6 while she's got hers going out.
Get you guys. 47.2. Shannon, what was your number?
7.6.
All right.
Yeah, Vic.
Ava, anything coming out of there? You got the volume up, right? Okay. Gina, anything?
Adelaide. Come over here where she's
Yeah.
I also heard the number like actually saying the number.
Right. Let me give her a minute, and then I'll pull us all together, just because she finally got hers up and running, and she had the volume down. So weird. How's your,
I can get a 6.4. Oh, 5.2.
very interesting. Yeah, I'd say it's time I piece this one together for you. There's a lot going on here. Very, very interesting. Adelaide, you got anything at all?
Not just that's what I said.
Okay. Anything else coming out of you, Jen?
Moving on. Every day and patience.
All right. I need to explain what's actually happening. Let's regroup. Because there's weird.
Didn't you say you heard the number 5?
Wow.
I just got a 5.5.
So, Cameron, I didn't get a chance to ask you anything weird going on with yours. Are you figuring out like people in the background and that kind of thing, how it actually works? You're a pretty quiet guy, man. You got lots in the background. So, yeah, good. Well, I figured we'd hear a very high-pitched girl scream because you have a low voice. So when you do see something, it's going to be one of those kind of things. With that, we have a lot of things going on. If you have a video camera, by all means, feel free to give your camera a break if you want to. And Jeff, where are we at with yours? So we normally get between a 5 and a 7 in this location because of the lamppost is pretty close by. Just go ahead and mute that. We're going to have that puppy walking by for us again. When they do come by, we're going to let them just kind of get in the middle of us. That's why you're going down to the end. So I'm going to kind of take note that the track field is giving us a little bit of readings, but the 2 is kind of a natural thing just because of the lampposts. So I do like, what was the other phrase you said?
Family of 5.
Family of 5. That's interesting. Very interesting. Anybody else hear anything? Jen and Jody? Anything? Old story? They're all old stories.
Yeah.
And anything crazy going on with yours? Just while we've been here, or the whole night?
It started over there and then once again.
Thanks for taking my So, Virginia, you got anything coming out of yours? Gotta get you going on there, too. So, I figure between the 2 of you, you get something out of them. You guys do have extra earbuds. Jeff can help you out. So, yeah. She's like, oh, I didn't know that. She's like, sorry, Jeff, had to put you under the bus like that. Everybody else is helping the other people out. So again, the 15, and see how that's steady? So just because you guys use EMF detectors all the time, I want you to realize whenever it's, I see a rhythm or a pulse or just a steady pulse, like a steady light like that, it's usually from something man-made. It's normally those big anomalies like what Jeff had at 54 and then he goes down to 2. Those are the types of things that I look for.
So maybe it was him.
Yeah, but they're not going to just sit down and chill and say, well, let's listen to Nick again. So we obviously got all cameras running at this point. So if other tours are going to come through here, which they may, they're going to come out of that ivy wall. It's going to feel kind of creepy. Or they'll be coming down like where the gentleman and his dog were coming from. So we'll just kind of split the scenes when that happens. Obviously drop our cameras to a lowerable point, which, Jody, you are perfect. You need a job. Yeah, I love it. So you guys are getting to the point. Oh, you guys just totally switched. I love it. So just switched all up. But anyway, every tour that comes down here tells the exact same story. So I'm going to give it to you a little bit differently because we're not doing campfire marshmallow stories like everybody else. We're going ghost hunting, right? So Harlan needs those details so she feels comfortable.
Yeah.
This used to be called Dueler's Alley. This is where some of the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. So I say some of them simply because dueling was illegal at the time in the 1700s. You can go find their hiding spot. It's just an air conditioner, Harlan, we got you. So, it's the only noise you'll hear down here. Sorry, I keep calling her out. I don't mean to do it. It's just, I'm just trying to make her feel comfortable by making us all laugh. But anyway, so here's how the story goes. A doctor moves down here from Rhode Island. There's your RI that I was looking at earlier when we actually heard Art-I. So that's kind of like, all right, so you're literally going to be looking for the initials RI while we're in here for that Rhode Island. It's going to come up again, and you'll see where. So he moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. Those of you listening to Spirit Boxes, if you hear the song Brown Eyed Girl, it is not coincidence. It is part of the doctor's name. We get it here all the time. So with that said, he moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from all of her dead parents. Not all of her dead parents, both of her dead parents. It's not like she had a whole slew of them. But anyway, she has an attorney helping her out with all this cash. Thank you. So the attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money. So he tells Amanda to get rid of the doctor. So he comes down here to Charleston to prove that he's not after her money. When he comes into town, the coachman brought him in, set him up to be robbed and killed. It wasn't a very good start to his stay in Charleston. Somebody was walking by. His name was Ralph Isaacs. Guess what his initials were? R.I. Same initials as where the doctor came from. So that's why I say two different characters. But anyway, Ralph actually, and by the way, in the 6 months that we've had that device, we've actually had the RI show up at least 4 or 5 times as I'm telling that part of the history. So again, it's a legit thing. So that's why I was excited when she said, Art-I. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? But anyway, back to Dr. and Ralph. Ralph tells the doctor, dude, you don't want to stay here. I know this guy. There's a gunman inside. He's going to try to kill you. Come with me to 59 Church Street. You can rent a room from some friends of mine. You'll be safe and good to go. The doctor takes him up on the offer. They became friends. The longer the doctor stays here, the more money he's making. He's proving his point that he's not after Amanda's money. Now, with that, Amanda hears wind of this, and she's going to be coming down so they can get married. Dr. Ladd became known as the Whistling Doctor. Here's what I'm going to tell you about whistling ghosts. Every haunted city you're ever going to visit in the future has a cliched whistling ghost. We all have one. I'm just going to put it out there. Every tour that comes down here tells you to listen for the whistles as we're down here. We have 3 video cameras recording and my voice recorder. If there's going to be a whistle here, you don't have to listen for yourself. You have 4 devices doing it for you. But anyway, I actually hope they're going to get capture of those whistles sometime tonight anyway. With that said, Ralph and Dr. Ladd go see plays together. They can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. That's the way the hierarchy works here in Charleston. He gets better seats. They talk about the plays on the way home. They go see Richard III one night, and they're arguing over the new actress. The doctor thought the actress was great. Ralph did not. The argument turns into Ralph insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. It gets very ugly, and they go their separate ways. Ralph has friends around town, like I mentioned before, so he actually puts an ad in the newspaper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a, you're a disgrace to society kind of mentality, slap, slap, right? So it's the 1780s. We could do the slap, slap, love thing, right? So Dr. Ladd saw the ad and rebutted with, let's go to Dueler's Alley. Somebody's going to die. So they came down here. They took their 10 paces away from each other. They turned. The doctor pointed his gun in the air, and he shot his one shot. He didn't want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage and bravery to show up to the fight. Ralph has his one bullet, puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. Dr. Ladd doesn't die. Do you have something going on over there? You seem like a small huddle.
Don't know. So down in there, it's a single point. Dark, it's hitting 80 to like 79.7 to 80 constantly. Down that way, I can't tell if it's.
Did it just come up?
No, it started around the 4-minute 38-second mark.
So
Okay.
it wasn't there the whole time.
No, and then there's it could be the light through the grate, but no, I mean you can when you review it, it's
Yeah.
thank
Definitely
you.
make note of it. He said thank you.
They're
Stop
happy.
it. Cheesy ghost tour when you applied, right?
That's right. Yeah, so I don't know. Just
All right, I'll
keep
definitely,
in mind.
yeah, I'll definitely make a note when we leave the space. So I was just wondering why everybody was huddled around you and not paying attention to me, like you're stealing my thunder over there. So,
And if you look over here,
so back to our duel. Dr. Ladd's on the ground with a knee, gunshot in his kneecap, right? So obviously kneecap is very, a big term that we get on the spirit boxes here. His friends picked him up, took him home to 59 Church Street. He dies 10 days later, November 2nd of 1786. He refused medical treatment during those 10 days that he was actually dying. The reason why is because he's a doctor. He probably tried to bleed out the bullet wound himself. The gunshot wounds were a lot different in 1786 than what they are now. So he probably just trying to get rid of the lead poisoning. So this particular alley, like I said, every ghost tour tells you to listen for the whistles and or gunshots. I've never had any type of gunshot type pieces. However, we do get that RI. We do get songs with whistling parts only on them. So if that makes sense, so we'll get like a, and then the word doctor right after it kind of mentality. So we're going to let these folks pass through if they need to pass through. You guys need to cut through?
No.
Oh. So we'll also get the word whistle. We'll also get other things relative to the doctor. Here's the reason why we're over here, by the way. We're not going to spread out and take over the alley because we can't go all the way down. We're here to stir things up, so hopefully we get the bleed over into the next location. So again, there's a lot that goes on in this alley, but I also got kicked out of here. That's the reason why I always pause when people need to cut through. Let me tell you how I got kicked out of here, because that's the fun part of the story. So some of you are smiling like, all right, Nick almost got arrested. Let's do this. So the alley didn't always go all the way through that way. That's part of the reason why I bring us in that way. It's because there was a wall up there halfway between us and Cumberland Street. That's because this is where they kept the livestock for the city of Charleston. So it's called Cow Alley before it was called Jeweler's Alley. That means that the bricks on the opposite end, those are sun-dried bricks from slave children. So there's a full handprint from a slave child down there and some fingerprint swipes off to the left. Here's what I'm going to tell you. That kid is not a dead brick. I used to take my groups all the way through here when I was new at this and really didn't know what the boundaries were. And I used to take them through because we all need to see that brick. However, November 26th of 2020, very specific date. I remember it forever, always. But I took my group down there. A group of 10 was huddled around that brick waiting for something to happen. I know nothing's going to happen because that's the last place you're going to find that kid, right? So I'm also out of, trying to be respectful to the mansion at the end of the alley. It's right outside the kitchen window. The new owner of the mansion came up pretty angry. And I didn't know I was out of bounds. My daughter thought it was great because her dad's getting yelled at. She was on the tour that night. We moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I don't tour on Thanksgiving. Some of you know I worked in retail management for a long period of time. I'm never doing Thanksgiving another day in my life. You're getting my point. The next day after that, the 28th of November, I got a hold of my partner that I had at the time for tourism, and I told him what happened. He's like, dude, you can't go down that far. You're only allowed to go down halfway. That's it. Or you got to reroute the group. But I told my group that night, because it's Black Friday, and I got another full group. I don't believe in the next story because I've never had anything happen there. However, we're going to see what happens. I'm a vampire guy, not a pirate person. Before we left, somebody heard the word Anne on a spirit box. I didn't tell them which pirate we were going to be investigating. The famous female pirate Anne Bonny. So I went, okay. We'll get up there. I told them a little bit I did know about piracy. We're going to let these folks pass through. Sorry, man. Oh, you're good. You're good. I get over there and I told them, again, I didn't have much time to research this whole story. Somebody else heard the number 300, just like you heard the number 800 on the way over here. So I was like, all right, I'll still write it down. But I didn't know what 300 meant. I researched it the next day. We were there November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy, November 28th of 1720. The exact 300-year anniversary of her pirate trial. Some of you are nodding your head like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Here's my problem. It's pirates. I'm not a big pirate person. So pirate, to me, I have a master's degree in creative writing. I need like facts and data to be able to create a story, even if it's a fictitious tale. So pirate stories are made from pirate lore. Do you know how many books I had to read on pirates to make sure what we're discussing in a paranormal investigation is legit? So everything we're going to be discussing at the next location is going to be coming from a minimum of 2 resources, just to make sure, and it is very open-ended. I don't have a million questions you guys can ask. It's almost an open forum. It's also not a tiptoed English woman. We're going to have to bounce around, and hopefully she doesn't get angry with us. We're going to have to poke the bear with this one a little bit. So when we go up and around the corner, for those of you with video cameras, if you want to keep them rolling, by all means do so. Just keep in mind that these groups are going to be looking at us weird as we kind of cut through them. But we're going to stay out of their way once we go up and around the corner and go near St. Philip's and kind of get near the powder magazine. We will have space to kind of open around, but we're also going to be, you know, hoping that things from here are going to be popping up. Now, I told you about the word roses, all right? So that already came up. That's where the doctor lived, at 59 Church Street. So I'm pretty excited about that. It's just too coincidental that we have 4 to 5 terms relevant to this story back at the Pinckney Mansion. So again, kind of keep those in mind. Again, I don't think I've ever seen that happen before, like that many. Like, maybe it's just kind of throwing us a little bit of a curveball. But yeah, that many, I'm like, yeah, that's not coincidence. So it's a busy alley tonight, so very busy. So we're going to let them pass through, and then we're going to follow their lead and follow up behind them. No, you're good, you're good. Always great for puppies. Sorry. Wife is going to school to be a vet. We always stop for dogs. It's just one of those pieces. All right. Any other major questions about dueling that I might be able to answer? I can't answer about the 35 pages of rules for dueling because it's in Old English and they're very stupid rules. So I have read them. They're very dumb. So, like, don't insult your mother's dog. Like, so the kind of thing. Like, it's just dumb. All right. Let's go learn about rated R pirates. Anybody get my very funny joke?
Yeah.
Sorry. Thank you. I need a couple of them.
Bye, baby. What are you talking? You're in front of me.
Carla, let me put you at ease. Any other tour that would kind of attempt to do what we're doing out here is going to try to make it as creepy, dark, and scary as possible. So far, we've discussed a football player, ponies, a plantation owner, and some guy who died by a gunshot. And now we're going to discuss a pirate. We're good. There's no demonic anything here. Like, we are all good. I don't do anything.
She's like, I hadn't even thought of demons.
Oh, great. Sorry.
You know demons run.
They were not on the menu. That's the great thing.
But now
All
it's in her head.
now it's all. Her glasses are fogging up. She's hyperventilating. And by the way, we will be doing the Estes method at the next location.
Oh,
Sweet.
So I will explain that to the entire group.
that is awesome.
Yeah, that's why people come to see me now.
Really? I had no idea.
Yeah, I'm actually getting full requests for it, so now I just do it every night as long as I have groups of 4 or more.
Love it.
So, we'll explain all of that later, but we gotta get the ambulance. Stuff on here, stuff on here. You heard I just died?
Demons don't die.
You heard right now that was I just died an enemy. So we have a whole story here now. I just died by my enemy, and that was, gosh darn it, dumb. So, anything going on with your stuff over there?
Not on the
Write this down.
boards. Population towards
Yeah. For some reason, that was dumb. It's the first thing that sticks out to my mind. Like, that's
Yeah, that was the first thing I said.
enemy, and then I just died. Wow. That's a hell of a group of set of terms. Regina, anything? Oh, you don't have one anymore. Jeff, you haven't said anything yet. Are you getting the gist of that guy?
Yeah, it's kind of like a.
That's why you're freaking out over there, man? Think you've had 12 cups of coffee? Just keep in mind, I listen to this every single morning. Welcome to the Power Magazine. Every tour is over here, probably the same building, just not the same reason. So we're here because of that little tiny building over there with the crosses on it. That person knows those are not crosses. Those are not permanent, those are not Carolina, those are earthquake points. What's called an earthquake point? It's a turnbuckle. It's all in the same route. If we have another earthquake, you could tighten up those turnbuckles and it'll tighten up the building so it doesn't incur any further damage. It's a great idea, it just doesn't work. The reason I bring them up is because it's part of the reason why we're here. That's the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston ever put in because it's the oldest government building in South Carolina. It was finished in 1713. This building was being constructed at the same time that Anne Bonny was coming here to start her new life. This is what I call a familiar. Those of you that watch TV shows, you should recognize the Boo Buddy. It's a teddy bear that they use to attract children ghosts. This is the same principle because I'm scaring the shit out of Harlow again.
We got you that for Christmas.
So, we know, right? And you just didn't know it lit up and talked about ghosts. Now, this is with that particular, we don't have any buildings this old, if you guys are getting my point. So hopefully she's going to be here at the same time that we are. Again, it's a Friday night. I think so far we've had some good activity at Pinckney Mansion. I don't know what we have going on in Philly yet. We're going to see what we have going on here. And I was hoping to get away from the damn motorcycle. slow down on the twist because Jeff is freaking out over there too with the jabber in his ear. 1708, a young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormac. She comes here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. Is everybody with me so far? Okay, I'll do this one slow. The reason I say it's slow is because the three of them are running away from her father's angry wife. How pissed was the wife that they had to leave Ireland to come here by boat? It's 1708. There's no planes. So with that, they land in Georgetown. Dad bought a plantation. Mom dies pretty quickly. That means Dad is sending young Anne down here to be able to sell things from the plantation to keep things afloat. So hence the familiar buildings. Back home in Ireland, Anne is said to be a badass even back then. At the age of 7, 8, 9, remember it's pirate lore, nothing is ever going to be exact except for specific dates. They say she killed a servant with a knife to the belly. I can't tell you how many times we get the word servant, knife, and belly coming from 3 different devices, and the other 2 people don't know what the other 2 people are doing. You guys get the point of that. Anyway, back to where we are now. Building was finished in 1713. Pirates are starting to come through Charlestown in 1715. Anne is stoked. Why? She's going to fall in love so she can earn her freedom, just like a man. It's a man's world at this point. So, first guy she falls in love with. I said first because there's a handful. We're going to go through them all. That's what makes the story interesting. First guy is James Bonny. You already see where this one's going. Dad didn't approve, filthy pirate. They ran away to Jamaica. They got married. And Cormac is now Anne Bonny. That's where the name came from. And by the way, this is where this form I've ever caught came from, by the way, on that camera. But when they get down to Jamaica and they get married, she realizes that her new husband, James Bonny, is not Captain Jack Sparrow. This guy, which is what she wants, because every young lady wants to be Captain Jack Sparrow, right? So this guy turns out to be a privateer. He's a spy for the British. He's a coward in her eyes. This is not who she wants. A few years go by and she falls in love again. Guy number 2. This is John Rackham. I'm boring Cameron, so I'll speed along. So guy number 2 is John Rackham. They call him Calico Jack. This is the guy they based your Johnny Depp character off of, just so you know who the hell this guy is. Jack has his own ship, has his own crew. Anne wants to be part of the crew. You can't put a female on a pirate ship. Does anybody know why? And keep it family friendly. Yeah, you guys can't do that, can you? I didn't think so.
That's why you got the wink.
I know, right? It's bad luck. Keep it simple, guys. Wow, you guys, I got the wink, literally. That's so funny. He makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy, look like the crew, you can be part of it. But you're going to be a female in my quarters. She's okay with this. Why? Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy back home as an apprentice to keep her away from his wife. She gets it. It's a man's world, but she's a pirate now, so let's get into it. We're pretty much all adults here, right? So put 2 and 2 together. She's a female in his quarters. She's eventually going to get pregnant. You cannot have a pregnant pirate dude on a crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a girl, then they're going to get rid of Jack as captain. He drops her off in Cuba. I'll have the baby over here, come back later, we'll figure it out. Now I'm fighting the damn airplanes on top of the motorcycles. So she goes and has this baby, returns without a baby. We have no idea what happened to this child. So ask whatever you want to. I just can't prove it. Even all the books I've ever read, never disclose it. She comes back with a female. While she was very good at she's going to go flirting. Make him even more mad. That's who Anne is. Guy number 3. Below deck. Above that pirate crew. Turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy, to be part of the pirate crew the Calico Jack captured. So, now we have 2 females, dressed like males, on the same ship, trying to be pirates. This young lady's name was Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. Her and Mary became friends, possibly lovers. We're not going to really know for sure because of the time frame, but the British find out where they are. They send a fleet of ships to take down one pirate ship. The rumor here is that Anne and Mary were the only 2 pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with their 1-bullet flintlocks because they don't know how to use cannons yet. They haven't been pirates for very long. That's not going to work out very well. Obviously, they get arrested. As they're being arrested, she looks at her bow and captain and says, "Hey, Jack, I'm so sorry to see you here, but if you would have fought like a man, you wouldn't be hanged like a dog." The word dog shows up on all of your communication devices a lot. Some people even claim to hear a dog barking through a commercial all the time here. I don't know why. Imagine that. Back to Anne and Mary. The judge wants to see the 2 quote-unquote men that fought back so valiantly. After he's already tried and hung all of the drunken pirates that wouldn't fight. Anne and Mary go in front. They reveal their gender. He doesn't give a shit that they're pirates. They're female. They're still pirates. He's still going to hang them. We plead our bellies, was what they shouted, because you can't hang a pregnant woman during 1720. It's illegal. He sends them both back to jail. Dad is still up here in South Carolina with all of his Irish money. He bails out Anne, brings her home, and she remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4. We're going to count Mary. We don't really know. And then she has 4 kids and dies at the age of 84. Yes, very abrupt ending. Jeff's looking at me like, really, that's it? Yep, that's it. That's all we know. So as far as Mary Reed goes, she dies 5 months later in that Jamaican jail from whenever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. know, most books would tell you that it was fever. I say bullshit, let's make it romantic. Call it scurvy. Why the hell not? So a couple of things I left out of here on purpose. So I'm not going to give you guys like assigned questions like what we did. I'm just going to tell you what I left out of the story. The name of Anne Bonny's parents, the father and his mistress. I know the names, you don't. So find out what they are. The name of Calico Jack's ship. That one is very interesting when that one shows up. So that'll be very interesting to see if it comes up tonight. The city where Anne grew up in Ireland. That's a very interesting one. It's a one-syllable term. No Googling, by the way. And the color of Anne Bonny's hair shows up here all the time as well. That's an easy one. That's red. Regina's like, yeah, I got that one. So you'll find it. Oh, you changed yours. That's right. Damn it. So ask whatever you want to in here, guys. Again, poke the bear a little bit. Do you have readings?
I got to 8.4, like right around
So here's the interesting thing. I told you we had anomalous readings from that device last night. I don't expect readings here. Have you had anything?
No, it's 0.
0. So you had an 8.4. This is where we got that 8, or it was like an 8 or a 7 and a 9, I think. I think we had 2 readings. First one was a 7, and then later
I've
on.
gotten a couple like 7.3.
Wow.
But the 8.4 happened like right around when you said 84.
Interesting. So, sorry, I hate to sound like the cliched paranormal investigator and just say interesting and everything, but
No,
I'm super stoked
I'm
that
waiting
you're
for you to
getting
go.
it.
I was not expecting it. I was not expecting it.
I don't expect it here.
You were.
But again, to Gina's, no, with Gina's, I don't expect a whole lot. By the way, you do have electrical poles up in the corner. Don't get excited if you're getting readings up there. So, take the device away from them and start to die off. Yeah, the electrical poles will give you, and then you have parking meters on the other side of that wall. It's usually on the back half for folks. Okay, I guess the word by purpose class. I was demonstrating lasers, and we actually had more basically appear in frame, and towards me, stop, turn, and then like stayed within. I didn't even know it was there. I caught it the next day when I was doing. Yeah.
So you think this is what this is about, right? Maybe?
If we did anything, like when I was spot checking it, literally waiting for just 1 minute, turn on the volume, and I turn on the on, your box, stuff, and I'm looking for anything that kind of flags through across. I want to make sure it's starting in frame. That makes sense. That's why I get sick to start here and come across. I just want it to kind of here, right here. And that makes sense before I went there, like, and then it has to disappear in frame. Like, I have my criteria to make sure it's a legitimate order, not just an insect kind of going by. So, what's up? Matthew, anything?
No, nothing yet.
I have both twice, 2 different times.
So this building right here was around during like Anne Bonny's time, Jack Rackham.
1713 was when it was finished. Wow. It's a museum now. It'll actually tell you about the wars that it served in, because it held gunpowder. The architecture of this place is fascinating.
Yeah, it's the slopes are really interesting.
Well, there's sand underneath those shingles. In case it gets hit by a cannonball, the sand is there because the walls are 3 feet thick. So if it explodes, the explosion will go up in the air and blow the sand up, and then it's supposed to fall to put out the fire.
Oh, nice.
That doesn't work either.
Yeah, no, but still, it's in theory like.
But the sand is still there from 1712.
No shit.
They actually had to do some repairs on this in I think it was 93 to make sure it was going to be ready to become a museum, and the sand was still there.
Oh wow.
It doesn't disintegrate, and it's not hot enough here, and it's not being compressed to turn into glass.
That is so cool.
I forgot. Adelaide, what did you say you heard again? Hope. But yeah, this building just fascinates the shit out of me. And in between wars, it was different, like mercantile, textile, law offices. So you can see, like, the back of the apartment building. You see where, like, the
oh, yeah.
it was kind of like a storage unit for moving all of the Cooper barrels and those kind of things out of the way to put them in the back.
That's wild. Thank you.
Yeah,
that's
you
very
got it,
cool.
man. I don't always talk about the architecture unless somebody asks about it. It bores teenagers.
Oh no, this building's like super fascinating. I don't know why. It's just, I mean, the history there and everything. But
yeah. What's funny is Tom also found this building fascinating.
Who is this Tom?
Yeah, he belongs to OSI. He's the leader of that. What the hell does that stand for? Old Spirits Investigations.
Oh, I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, he's a private little group, but he's basically a video tech. Like,
okay.
He's kind of like, I'm a spirit box expert, and I would consider him a video tech.
Very
just
cool.
Because, I mean, he does a lot of live streaming and those kind of, he's on Twitch. Like,
oh,
he live streams
gotcha.
investigations. Like,
Okay.
He's a very big video person, and I think he went into school for video production, which makes sense.
Okay, yeah.
With spirit boxes, for me, it's all about words.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's about the
so
tone and
my wife and I mean, she does a lot of work for a lot of different things, but we just started over the last, I guess, a week or so before we came to Charleston. We started doing the Estes method because she learned about that. And so what I'll do is I'm the runner, so I just put it on and then like blindfold, and then
right.
listen and repeat anything, and then she asks the questions, and then like it's one of those things where it's like, I think people who go expecting or wanting so badly that anything becomes something, and so like you keep
I'm
a
usually
level
the
head.
person of bearer. I'm the bearer of bad news.
Oh, and then it's when you can explain it that it's like, well, it could be, like, who knows?
Yeah.
But some of the stuff that, like, it's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
No, that's
Yeah,
nuts.
That's why we video everything.
Yeah, keep
We're
record
gonna
of
put
everything.
2 people under. So I'm probably
Harlow.
no,
I'm kidding.
definitely not Harlow.
I'm kidding.
I usually pick the 2 people that have the red spirit boxes. So at this point, it would be Ava and Adelaide.
Smart.
And kind of have them have a seat, and then, of course, when it's okay with the parents, it's a blindfold, children in the middle of a park.
Sure.
Kind of see how it goes. But if they're not okay with it, I'll pass it off to somebody else. But I know you guys are obviously okay with, Adelaide being cool with it. Jeff, what do we got? What did you get?
We heard the name Joshua twice.
Maybe Jack from Black.
I just killed my
I just killed
Were
my
those 2 separate?
That was a song.
Jack, and then 2 minutes later,
We'll fight to give you something.
Hey, will you check the setting for this?
I don't think this is right because that's way too.
Well, first off, I'm asking you to do something you've never done before with your hearing. To really pull out that selective hearing and make sure you're listening in. And I'm giving you crappy headphones to do it with. On top of
Seems
that,
good.
I have to buy them in
We're on
bulk.
FM, should we be on AM?
But at the same time, when you guys get your recording back,
Probably. No, probably. Oh, well then lower it.
it's going to be very interesting.
Oh, that's way
150?
No, it's just like going way too fast.
As long as mom and dad are okay with
It's this one.
your parents, am I correct?
That takes it down. The sweep rate's at 350.
I'm going to blindfold.
Oh.
We're going to put the headphones over the top of the spirit box. We're going to treat her as if she's the ghost and she's talking into the history. So she's going to be sitting on the back on a bench, and the rest of us are going to learn the history, come back, and then treat them as if they're the ghost, and they're not going to know are okay with me throwing a blind. She's gonna put it on herself with something. Just make sure I'm okay with the camera. Still be fine. Okay, so mom and dad are good with it too. All right, what do we got going on with all of your guys' gear now that you guys are all huddled?
That's fine.
Anything?
Anything going on at all? Come on, you two. You're snickering about something.
Well, her 4, and honest to God, I was like, you two really good. That's what he said.
Well, first off, that's a yes/no question.
Well, he said that goes without saying.
No, it's you're just saying, you're just saying that it goes without saying.
That's what it was. Goes without saying.
Saying without answering?
Yeah. But we heard 4.
Okay.
Everyone's scoring. Highest success.
Highest success, yeah.
I'm gonna turn this off.
Pretty big stuff.
Yeah.
But I do like kind of tell us, because I don't have the exact wordage the way you do. So why don't you tell us what happened?
It was pretty clear.
It was pretty clear, and it said,
Well, what did you ask?
so,
Saying, I said, hey, y'all really gay? And then sure enough, the damn thing popped up and said, this saying goes without answering.
you know the saying that goes without answering?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Interesting tale. And I just kind of wanted that so everybody would hear it.
Clearest that I had.
Yeah. A year and a half ago, I brought my group to the back, same size group, probably 8, 9, 10 people. And I go to the back to stay out of the way of the other tours so they can talk about the building, and that way we can discuss. But anyway, the kid next to me literally goes white as a ghost. Like, he's fainting on me. So I have to pick him up by his armpit so he doesn't hit his head on the ground. I brought him over here and got him a bottle of water. He's feeling better. And then I told them the story about Aunt Bonnie that I already told you. So this used to be the last stop. I'd spread everybody out and say, go have some fun with your devices. Last stop, last hurrah. These two fellas pull me aside and say, Nick, we have to tell you, we are 2 transgender males. I had 2 females, dressed like males, just like Ann and Mary in the story on the tour. It kind of made sense at that point of things that I can't explain of why that actually occurred. So do I tell this every single night? I do, because it proves the point that ghost hunting isn't always black and white. We had the name Jack Black. So Jack is relevant here, but we also get Blackbeard stuff here. So I don't know which part of that is going to be relevant. That's why I said, did you hear Jack and then Black, or did you hear it together? He's like, nope, it was Jack Black. And then she heard the death of. So I'm like, well, shit, Jack Black probably just died, and we're all sitting here chuckling about it. But you guys are getting the point. The whole point of that whole transgender story was the matter of, like, these are the things that I see probably 4 or 5 times a year on my tours, and people, like, psychics normally don't make it past the Pinckney Mansion site. I'm just going to be honest. Like, I definitely don't give them spirit boxes. That's a different kind of messaging that they don't understand. If they practice this for a regular daily basis, they're not making it. They're normally on a gurney on their way to the emergency room telling me that they're a psychic. And they tell me then. So let's talk about the answers to Ann Bonnie. Now that you guys are still looking at me like, what the hell did we just sign up for? Ann Bonnie, one of the few pictures you can find of this young lady with a shirt on. The reason why is because she used to bare her breast to show men that they were, just shot by a woman. She was dressed like a man, a pirate, remember? So I get a lot of teenage boys in these groups. I don't need angry moms going home. But with that, the name of her parents, William Cormac, Mary Brennan. This was not another subliminal trick with the name Mary, by the way. We just happen to have 2 in the story. So Mary Brennan was a servant for the Cormac family, by the way. That's a whole other 30-minute scandal we're not going to get into. I just find it very interesting. Or I was not expecting that, right, Shannon?
Yes, that's right.
Calico Jack, I like to show what he looks like, and he does not look Jack Black, but I do like to show you his picture simply because everybody wants to know what they based Johnny Depp off of. Calico Jack was named that because of the jackets that he wore. They came from the British captains that he killed. His father was a tailor, so textiles were very important to him. So, Calico Jack translates to fancy jacket. That's where the name comes from. Calico Jack's ship name, the Kingston. I don't expect the word Kingston to come up on most of your spirit boxes. I would expect the word King to come up, where I'm okay with that. The only one that I would expect the full word of Kingston would be the one that Jen's using, because it picks up more disembodied voices than it does radio stations. So I will tell you, one of the first nights we ever used your device, by the way, again, this used to be the last stop. It was a very late night. The whole team was disappointed. I could feel it in the air, so I'm trying to pack up my stuff. And I took that device and it said pirate, plain as day. Like, I'm a guy that has studied words and phonetics for 8 years of college, so I know when it's not the Pittsburgh Pirates won the game. Like, this was a disembodied voice. The cool thing was, the person with the thermal imaging camera was standing right next to them on record. We had the whole thing on the video. I was stoked for that team. That was the only thing we caught that night, but it was definitely disembodied. But anyway, the next space, we are going to be doing the Estes method. So here's how this is going to go down. We are going to take Adelaide and we're going to take Ava, and we are going to blindfold them, and we are going to put noise-canceling headphones over top of their spirit boxes so they do not know the history of where we are. They're going to be sitting on a bench while I tell everybody else, and we're going to go over a few tips and tricks. I know you guys have done this before. I don't know if she's been involved with that.
No, we don't generally involve the kids.
Are you okay with this?
Yeah, we're totally fine.
Okay. Yeah, you just go ahead, blindfold the kids.
If you're okay with that, yeah. Okay.
But at any rate, so with that, we're going to touch base on a few things, because we always have to make sure everybody's safe before we do everything. And now we'll give you a few tips and tricks like once we're there. This is a new space. I change this up every year, so Cameron, and you guys probably wouldn't have seen this last year, because obviously I've only been doing the Estes method for a few months, and this location has been since November. So this would have been your last stop, by the way. Would have been right here, everybody, just so you know. But any other major questions about piracy, especially here in Charleston? Usually when I bring up Blackbeard, I get a lot of those questions. Nothing? You guys ready to blindfold some kids and see how this goes? All right, let's do this. Shannon's looking at me like, man, this guy's...
And in other news,
I know, right? All right, let's do this. Just so we kind of have the gist and we're all on the same page. So, in essence, family members are going to be coming over to help put like the noise-canceling headphones over your ears. But for now, what's going to happen is I'm going to take this group over to that monument. So don't freak out. We're going to be 15 feet away. And I'll point it so that way parents can see you that way. But I'm not going to give you guys the ear yet until we come back over, because most people are very tempted to put it on, and if I'm blindfolding kids in the middle of a dark park, it never looks good, right guys? So, but yeah, we're going to go over there. You guys can just chit-chat for a few minutes. I'm going to tell them a brief history. We'll be gone for 5 minutes. We'll come back. I'll give you those tips and tricks about how this is going to work. But again, this way you guys can actually make friends with each other for a few minutes. Yeah, they're already giggling. Awesome. It's like, oh, man. Let's go learn some history. We're going to be right over here.
I am like maybe.
I want to get through this history so we're not leaving the girls by themselves for too long.
My
So,
drink is not.
in a nutshell, when the first time I came here, guys, this is a new space, so I don't know everything. It's going to be like 5 minutes. So I only brought 2 people in here because it was November. After Halloween is when I started looking for a new space for the following year. This is the new space. The young lady that I was using a spirit box, I actually heard 2 things come out of it. The name Henry and the year 1828, the minute we walked in here. I was using Hannah's word list. I had the name Tim that showed up. Behind me is Henry Timrod, born 1828. And I went, well, hot damn, there's my ghost. I didn't know what to expect because there's a million monuments in there, and every ghost tour starts here talking about something else. So I didn't know what to go with. Anyway, quick story on Henry's life so you guys know who we're chatting with. Born in 1828, first off, you need to know he was a writer, and he was very sick through most of his life. So, being born in that year, he's old enough to go fight in the Civil War. He goes fight on the battlefield with the Confederate side. His comrades realize he's too sick to fight. They sent him home and said, go be the voice of the war. So they wanted him to go write about what was going on in the battlefield. Came home, became known as the laureate of the Confederacy because he was writing poetry about what was going on the battlefield of the Civil War. Very important, prestigious title, by the way. 2 years go by, he has a son. The son's name is Willie. He was born on Christmas Eve, and he died 9 months later. Obviously, a very big tragic death for his family. Henry and his wife Katie are mourning, and 2 more years go by, and he's still not writing enough. His college friend realizes he's not publishing on poetry according to his contract and says, go out to my cottage in Columbia, and you can write and finish the piece you're supposed to be working on. And that's where he goes to write his last words. His last words were beholder of brief mortality. Translates to person with a short life. And then he coughs, and it lands on the page in a blood stain. He had tuberculosis. That blood stain looks like a man writing at his desk. Again, it's weird. We call it the blood book. We show it one day a year at the Charleston Library Society. We have gotten triple digits in
It just went zero. The first time it's gone zero at all. It's completely zero right now.
Interesting. So I might be getting pissed because I'm talking about it again.
It's like I've actually never seen ours do that before.
They show this page one day a year at the Charleston Library Society, but you got to be a member to go see it. The internet is beautiful. I'm going to show you the page, and then we're going to go talk to those two young ladies as if they're Henry Timrod, and hopefully they're going to give us some answers. That's how this is going to roll. Of course,
So
they don't know the
strange.
history, but I'm going to give you guys are going to have to listen to the tips and tricks I give them, so everybody's on board of how this actually works. This is the blood book. You can see where the blood stain looks like a man writing at his desk. Yeah. So, good story to end with, Jeff.
I think it's perfect that she just bought 2 poetry books before dinner.
So, I think this tells the whole story where you have the older and mortality.
It's still at zero. That's so weird.
And it's going really red.
Hers just went down.
Yeah. It hasn't been that red.
Like RE80.
RE80. Wait, read it.
What is yours saying? I've never seen a tricycle at zero before.
All right, let's go blindfold these kids and see if we get
30.1.
30?
Red and
No.
red.
Where's your cell phone? It's still not close enough. Normally a 30 from a cell phone means it's
Maybe
touching
it's
it.
3.01 now. No, but I would
No, it only gives you 1 decimal point.
Mine is
And
literally
you're
staying at zero.
staying at 0.
Yeah, I mean, like the peak and I've never seen a tricycle.
Wow. Okay, so one's at 0, the other one's giving me a possible 30. We have gotten up to a 167 from that device in here. So, very cool. I will also tell you, when we're over there, guys, we're going to stay pretty close. Like, we're going to stay tight-knit. We don't need to have the other tourists seeing that we're blindfolding people and them stealing my ideas, let alone calling a police on some random act of goodness, right? So... Alright, you guys got a chance to chit-chat, get to know each other, besties now, swap TikTok and Twitter feeds. Nice. Alright, so... Okay, let's pull those things out of your ears. Don't put them in yet, we gotta talk for a few minutes. So, we will keep yours on mute, Jen, I'm sorry, during this session. Everybody else will need to pay attention to either the spirit boxes in their ears or definitely Hannah's devices that she's using. Your family members, the 2 of you, will be helping you out with these, so Karen will come over and help you put these on, because we put these on you after you're blindfolded, because again, that's kind of the way this works. A couple of things you'll need to know. You're going to need to tell us everything you're hearing in real time. So when I see your spirit box, so we're going to stop yours and make a whole new recording just for this session. But you're going to need to tell us in real time what you're hearing. So kind of keep that in mind. You don't know what questions I'm asking. This is also a place where it's okay to answer yes/no questions. You don't know what I'm asking, so if you hear a yes/no answer, just tell me. I'm also going to be keeping an eye on your breathing and be looking to, obviously, your family members if things look out of whack, so I get a little uncomfortable. If we're going to tap you out, which is going to be after 10 minutes, which will complete a session anyway, everything is fine, but your family members will tap you on the leg, so be prepared for that. If you are talking too loud, your family member will tap you on the shoulder. So again, shoulder means you're too loud, tone it down. Whisper, we can hear you. We're also going to be filming the entire thing. So Jody, with your camera, yours gives us the best point of view with this whole position because Cameron's actually has sticks in front of everything, but yours is pretty plain sight. And of course the thermal is thermal. So yours is the most clear. If we have to tap you out because I feel like you're hyperventilating or it's too hot or whatever the case might be, just expect that tap on the leg. You will pull off your own view. I'm trying to think what else. I'm only going to keep you on it for 10 minutes. Just so you know. It might not feel like 10 minutes. Some people say that it feels way longer than that. Most people say that it feels like 1 to 3 minutes. So kind of keep that in mind. I also, for you folks, I do not take notes during this, just so I can focus on the things around us. I may be asking things like, hey, is Nick wearing a gray shirt? That's where you're going to give me a yes/no answer, hopefully from the ghost. That kind of thing. So just remember, I don't take notes. If this turns out to be what I call a successful, I will go back and watch Jody's video, and I will take notes of everything that was taking place. If I call this unsuccessful at the end of this, I will not rewatch the video, but maybe take a few notes as I'm walking back to my office. I'm like, hey, they gave me the answer yes, that I was wearing a gray shirt. It's vague, but it was still there. You guys are getting my point. Definitely pay attention to those two over there. We do get answers from the questions I'm asking on your devices specifically. Everybody else that's using a listening link, by all means do so. Blindfolds. Let me show you how these work. Sorry. These are disposable. I do not want your eye boogers back. So, when you guys open these up, go ahead and open them up. I will show you how they work. I will take your wrappers. So they're two plies. So you want to kind of peel apart and you create a whole circle. It does not go all the way around your head. Nope, not there. In the center. In the center. That's where the nose would be. Let me show you. All right. Natalie. So kind of watch. I'm going to pull this stick out apart like this. And then when it's on the thin part, you pull it in between the holes, and it will create a flat piece so she can put it over her ears. You get that? You got that part.
That goes over your ear.
Alright, so it is blindfolds first, and then earbuds, and then adjust your volume, and do not touch your spirit box again until I tap you out. We want to make sure you're not cheating. If bad teenagers try to cheat. It's horrible, by the way. We all know that they're cheating. Find your earbuds. You good with, go ahead and put them in, Ava. And then family members, you might want to get in there so you can help with those headphones. And we are going to circle in nice and tight here, guys. I know it's warm, but other tours like to go off to the side here. And this is the only thing that I actually time when we're out here. Yep, we're definitely the weirdos now, guys. Alright. Yeah, they're not very large, Shannon, just so you know. Yeah, they're kid size.
So you regularly do
Shh! Don't tell anybody. I've had big old egg-headed men put those things on. They look funny because they're stretched out, but they're on there. Alright. Can anybody hear me? Natalie? Ava, can you hear me? And we've begun. It is 10:57. So, in the event that they do not start talking in the next minute or so, family members, be ready that you're going to lift up their earmuff and tell them to tell us what they're hearing, because sometimes they forget that they're supposed to be talking. Henry Timrod, if you can come forward for us, can you please tell us what your occupation is? We're going to start things off nice and simple. Ava, we know you're fiddling around with your volume. Okay, she seems to be at a comfortable spot. Henry Timrod, please come forth and tell us what your occupation was. Do we have anybody here with us tonight? She's got her jam going on. She's waving her head back and forth. Alright, family members, let them know they're supposed to be telling us what they're hearing. Sorry, try not to touch your kids.
You're supposed to be telling us if you hear anything.
Yeah! Real time.
Put your butt back in here. Grab this one.
I was like,
If
what's going on?
you hear
You
anything,
haven't heard
Okay.
anything at all?
Just
You gotta
words?
get some volume.
anything, right?
Anything. Anything at all.
You're not going to hear anything out here. You're just going to speak.
Okay. Ava's got the gist of it now. So Henry Timrod, please come forth and tell us what you're hearing. We're going to restart this. We're still running. Henry, if you're here, you need to let us know. Tell us your...
Men's, women's.
Henry Timrod, come forth and tell us your occupation, please.
Chains.
What's with the chains? Who do we have here? We're looking for Henry Timrod. If you're not Henry Timrod, you need to go. I want to speak with Henry Timrod personally. And I don't know that there's anything dealing with chains with Mr. Timrod.
Call.
Who am I calling? I'm calling on Henry Timrod.
Yes.
Henry, tell us what your occupation is, please. These two young ladies sitting here can hear you. Henry.
Oil.
Henry Timrod, we need to start early. We
3 foot.
we only have 10 minutes to do this.
Street. Silver.
Notice how they're going back and forth.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like they're having a conversation and we're not included. Henry Timrod, let's start talking about your family. Who do you want us to ask about first, your wife or your son?
Children.
Okay,
Corner.
let's talk about your son. Can you tell us what his name was, please?
Where I am.
He is buried right next to you.
Description.
That is very interesting. One of the questions I normally ask is, where is he buried? And it's right next to Henry. Henry, thank you for that. You kind of preempted things a little bit because it's not like I'm not here 7 nights a week. But can you tell us when your son's birthday is? I'll take the number. You don't have to tell me the name of the holiday. You can tell me the number. When is your son's birthday? Which, if you want to tell me the month, I'm okay with that too. Henry, can you come forth and tell me when Willie's birthday is?
I feel fine.
It's fun for the whole family, is it not, guys? Henry, come forth. I got a pretty good group here again. They're trying to learn more about you. This is the way we do it. You've got to fill in the gaps.
Irresponsible.
I'm not being irresponsible. Don't be a jerk, Henry. Henry, come forth. If you want me to move on to talk about your wife instead of Willie, say yes. Henry,
Fine.
let's talk about your wife. What was your wife's name? And you can give me her maiden name as well. I will take that as an acceptable answer because that's an easy term to grab for you. It was Goodwin, by the way, so we've had the word good show up when I've asked this question several times. So, Henry, it's okay to give me her maiden name or her first name.
Headphones.
Yeah, they're wearing headphones. Not that you know what those are from the 1800s, but okay.
You and I.
Henry, your wife's name,
Safety.
please.
Father.
Henry. Do we want to move to a safe question, Henry, where it's not so
Listen.
invasive? What sounds do we normally get out of the church at this location? What do we hear here all the time? The word bells has come up, I can't tell you in how many different word list, Ouija board spelled out properly, one of these two, spirit box, like, this is a question I ask nightly. Henry, what do we normally hear out of St. Michael's Church?
She said.
Henry, I'm going to need you to come forth because we're losing some time
Reynolds.
here. Can you answer any of the questions that I've given? That would be the name of the wife, the name of your son, well, we have the name of your son, his birthday, your occupation, or the sound we get out of the church. Any of those questions at this point will do. We're down to 3 minutes that we have left.
Control.
Yeah, I'm trying to have a controlled environment so we can communicate with you, but you need to give us some details. I'm going to ask the same questions on a nightly basis, Henry, until you start giving us some answers regularly, until I can move on and continue learning more about you. Notice how they're quiet when I'm talking.
Where we are.
Stop talking.
Talk.
You want me to talk? That's a yes/no question. Do you want me to continue talking, Henry?
Lethal.
She's very focused. I don't know if you guys are watching her. She is laser focused. Henry, are you still here with us? Henry Timrod. Is somebody else here with us? Wow, complete silence. Henry Timrod, we're going to close this down here in a
Not.
minute. You are not. Is somebody here? No. Henry, we're going to close this down here in a minute or two. You got about a minute or so to tell us what you want to...
Timothy?
Who the heck is Timothy?
Tim.
Timrod. Thank you. Sorry.
Andy.
I don't know who Andy is.
Sleep.
Henry.
Louise.
We've had that name here in the past. Would she say fast? Like Thelma and Louise were fast, right? Henry, we're going to say goodnight. Can you say goodnight back to us? Henry, we're going to have to shut this down. Can you say goodnight back to us? You haven't given us a whole lot other than some conversation pieces.
Man.
She picked up on this pretty quick, huh? Blindfold her, she does pretty well.
30 years.
I missed it. Anybody catch it?
Weasel or Weasel, something.
Ridge.
She's getting the names of our radio stations. We have the Weasel,
Morris.
we have the Bridge.
Morris.
What did she say?
Doris. Morris. Dora.
That's Adelaide's lesson. Oh, we just moved.
For what?
2.7, it's been at 0 this whole time.
Okay, Henry, we're gonna call it. What do you got?
Friend knows.
Friend knows. Do you want us to leave, Henry? That's a yes/no question.
Tired.
I see it.
Massive.
Just have to look at the temperature. Henry, we're gonna call it, okay? Family members, let's go ahead and tap their legs. We've been here about 11 minutes with this.
Your mom?
Yep. She's like jamming over there.
Corner to the top of the head to either side.
Okay, first question. First off, you need to know, like I want to ask is, how do you guys feel? Are you okay?
Yeah. I was like, wait, did someone do that? Was that 10 minutes?
That was 11 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, so with yours, Ava, for if you're okay, feel the top where next where your volume is. There's a little button. Slide it to the opposite direction. It's going to shut the machine down. I want to make sure we get the recording right at the end. Perfect. So, how are we feeling? Are we okay?
Yeah.
There was no like hyperventilating or anything like that. I will tell you, like we were watching you, so like you're like, no, there wasn't, but you don't know that she wasn't. But my point is, there was a couple of funny moments in there. Do I call this anything successful? Not until I'm going to actually go over this. At this point, I would call this. It was very, very vague. We did get the name Timothy, which ironically your mom had to remind me why the name Timothy was relevant because I'm so used to seeing the name Tim because of the last name here. There was a man we were trying to talk to. His name was Henry Timrod. That's his last name, Timrod. So the fact that you said Timothy, and I'm like, oh, who's Timothy? And she's like, oh, his last name, dummy. So she kind of caught on to that.
I
So
didn't say the dummy.
no, she didn't. She wouldn't know me. But anyway, so we did get a couple of little weird EMF spikes. We do have a lot of cold spots going on around you. So again, at this point, I don't know, like what, there was no definitive, like, hey, there's a direct answer to my questions. Like, we didn't get any of those. So at this point, I have to call it unsuccessful, and I think everybody here can kind of call that fair. We had a couple little weird nuances, right?
I have a name Lillian right now,
I don't know who that is. I'm going to dive in that for sure.
but the chain thing.
Yeah, you said the word chain, same time showed up on the word list. Like, identical. Like, bada bang at the same
I
time.
clearly heard 30 years.
Yeah. Well, you guys, I don't think I told everybody, Henry Timrod died at the age of 38. So the 30 years could be part of something else if the number 8 shows up on the recording that she just missed, if you guys are getting my point. So again, he's got to grab what he can.
Look at that. 30. Oh, it
No,
went,
no.
it went to 3.8. It
It went up from
yeah. It went
It's
right
weird that you guys are getting...
Yeah, I don't know.
I've literally been at 0 the whole time, minus the one time during that, and then when you said 38, and then to 3.8. So
Because we've been getting these small little spikes, those of you with EMF detectors, I do want you guys to like take a quick lap in the grassy areas and just kind of meet us back over here and report like what you find. So Regina, I'm putting you to work, and then Shannon and so you guys are all three. Go take a lap and see what you guys find. I'm going to start collecting spices over here. While these two do not get up out of the way. So, what do you think? I mean, it's cool, but it's weird.
Yeah.
So it definitely puts you in a weird state of mind because I took away, what you could see. All right. Start your way.